Hi, Landry. This is Doc. We got a lot of eavesdroppers in the crowd in our conversation here. I want to reflect on a few things. Some times that we had, some things that we did that meant a lot to me, and I know it meant a lot to you as well. What about that dive trip in Seattle where you got your dive license, you were excited, you were just jacked, and we finally went on our final dive. We went around a corner, and those two guys were underneath the water, and that one guy's riding him like a bull, and it was unreal. What about shooting trap? Landry was one of the guys that lived with me, who I told him if he shot a perfect score more than twice, I'd buy him a brand new shotgun. And he has that shotgun. I see some people laughing. Some people are going to be made fun of here in a second, but that's all right. Then there's another boy, well, man now, that lived with me that's in here, and he and I and Landry used to have a domino tournament. And if they won, they would prance around the house like it was the best thing in the world, and they didn't, recall the 30, 40 times that I beat them in a row, and then they'd get one win, and they thought it was the world. But Landry especially, and those puka shells, I made fun of those things every day. Every day. And I couldn't humiliate him to even taking them off. It was amazing. We went up to Canada on a ski trip, and talk about somebody who could ski. Everybody snowboards now. I still ski. I don't want to start over again. I've been skiing for 27 years. I'm not going to learn. I'm not going to learn over again. So Landry skis. So that was great. So we'd always ski together, and I could live vicariously through Landry. It was wonderful because I'd say, "Hey, Landry, why don't you go off that jump right there?" Okay. I go, "I'll wait for you at the bottom. I got the camera," and I'd have the camera, and sure enough, he would yard sail like you wouldn't believe. Now, those of you who don't ski, a yard sail is where you wipe out, and your equipment and everything goes everywhere. And people come along and pick it up, and some people take it, and some people give it back to you. But this one we had on film we named it Landry Pops His Top. And we watched this film probably about 50 or 60 times. Because he wiped out after this jump, and his hat popped off his head about 2 feet in the air. And then we would put it back on, and it would pop off, and we'd put it back on, and it would pop off. It was just great. He loved it, and it was a pretty painful wipeout, though. Let me see here. Well, and then there was one boy that we used to make fun of, and these are men now. And I won't mention his name, Garrett, but took Garrett hunting with me up to up in Idaho. We were elk hunting, and I got this picture. To this day, I have this picture. So I always keep blackmail pictures because any of these guys make it famous, they're going to remember me. Especially if they make it to the pros and something. I got front row tickets every time. Garrett whips out this Gucci bag he took hunting. A Gucci bag. And he's walking into the tent with a Gucci bag. Landry and I never let him live it down ever again. And that's where Landry and I started to bond. We learned we can make fun of people and take advantage of that, but in a joking way. It was pretty fun. Let me say. Well, and I also have a picture that of Landry and Garrett in my kitchen, and they were cooking, and Landry has on a lace apron. Yeah, unreal. But I was going to use that to blackmail him, but he got the best of me already on that one. It was always a competition. I was in the bathroom earlier, and I was talking to a young man, and I said, "Well, how do you know Landry?" He goes, "We went to high school together." I said, "Really?" I said, "Did you play sports with him?" He said, "No, my brother did. And he played football with him." He goes, "I played tennis." And there's nothing wrong with tennis, but a lot of people don't know this. When Landry lived with me, the football star, he was on the varsity tennis team. So is Garrett. How about the time that I came down? I came down to see Landry, and we went over and saw Garrett, and in an apartment that had nothing in it. I don't know how he lived there, but so we made fun of him for that. But then he took me over to this great store. It's called the Reward Store. And I still keep a money clip that Landry and I picked out together. And it's a Texas Ranger money clip I got on me right now. Went to that store this morning just to reminisce a little bit. And so I have that on me. One story that I do want to tell about Landry is when I came down on that trip to visit him. And I've got boys that come live with me from all over the world and mostly all over the United States. But I don't go visit too many boys. And Landry and Garrett always had a special place in my heart. Always had a special place in my heart. So Landry tells me about this story about one of his friends who's probably in this room. I don't doubt that he's in this room. I think I remember what he looks like, but he'll know who I'm talking about. He says, "Hey, Doc, this guy, he shot this huge deer." And I'm an avid hunter. I think I know who he is now. Saw him hang his head. And he goes, I said, "Really? He does he have a big rack?" And he goes, "It's huge." He goes, "You got to see this thing." And so he says, "I'll call him up and have him come over. We're having a party tonight." And I said, "Great." So this guy comes over right beforehand. He gave me some information that this guy shot the deer in his backyard. While his parents were at work. And so I said, "Oh, really?" And I said, "Well, tell him to bring a picture." So this guy comes over, and Landry and I are just tag teaming him. And he says, "Well, show Doc that picture. He's a big hunter." So, "Oh, yeah, let me see that." He shows me his picture, and I go, "That's a nice deer right there." So, "Where'd you get that deer?" I got about 30 minutes outside town. I said, "Really? Let me see here." Pull out my glasses. It was what? I go, "That's an urban deer." He said, "What?" I said, "That's an urban deer." He says, "What do you mean?" I said, "You shot that deer in town." He said, "No, I didn't." "Yes, you did." So you can see right here, those antlers are dark. So deer that hang around in the city, there's a lot more shade in the city, so their antlers get dark. That's an urban deer. And Landry's taking him aside and he goes, "I think he knows. I think he knows." So this guy's getting pretty anxietal right now. So I think he knows. So this guy all of a sudden had to leave suddenly. And he left the party early. What else here? Last thing I want to say, Landry, is I love you. I'll always love you. You have a special place in my heart. It looks like you got pulled up to the big show before me. You should have been doing this for me. But evidently you finished your job here. And when you get up there, say hi to Brett, one of my helicopter buddies, and he'll teach you how to use those wings really well. And maybe when you get good enough, when I get up there, we can race. And say hi to my grandfather, take him golfing for me. And there's a lot of people out here that need some things before I do. But when it's my turn, I'd like to dream about you.